Alright, I think we're live here. Alright, I think we're live here. Okay, I'm just checking my sound, getting things set up. So we're going to do a little demonstration about how to take a logo that you have that is already created, and the person that I'm doing this for, helping for, she sent me the files, and there was some files in there that were actual vector files, EPS files, and so I opened those, or I downloaded one of those. And so Inkscape can open EPS files. I believe that I had to install an extension for it, I don't remember, but I will save the file wherever I'm going to save it, and then I go File, and then Open, and then I go find it, and then open it, as opposed to just double clicking on it in the folder, because then I inadvertently always get an error. So here's our design, and if we zoom in on it, you can see that there is a lot of ragged edges to it. So we're going to flip over actual to outline mode here, and it's got a lot going on. It's super duper busy. If I flip over to Node tool and click on it, you can see that it is just full of nodes. So this is, I'm sure, going to be very difficult actually to engrave on the Glowforge because of all of the nodes. But the challenge here is that she actually wants to cut the design. So have each of these items be cutouts of some kind. So with that, if you have questions, definitely pop over into the chat and let me know. I'll try to keep looking at them. So a couple of choices here. You can spend time cleaning up the nodes, straightening them out. You can do the simplify. You could crash your computer, make sure that it's good and out before you head. Okay, so we're just going to have to wait here because I have too much going, I think. Alright, so a couple of things that you can do to help with this is you can go to Path and you can go to Simplify, and then it's going to take and clean up a lot of those nodes. But then it also changes some of the shapes and characters and stuff. So that can help with the time in the Glowforge if you're thinking about engraving it, but we're not. We're going to cut it. So we're going to minimize this here and go over to the PNG version of it. So in Inkscape, I went to File, Import, and then I brought in the JPEG or the PNG. So either one. Oh, this is the cleaned up one. So this is the JPEG, and then I click Open, and I bring it in. And so then I locked it up here, so I can make it as small or as big as I want it to be. From this point, I know that it's not a vector file, so this is just a picture file. It's a raster, and we need to turn it into a vector file. So to do that, I'm going to go up here to Path, and then I'm going to Trace Bitmap. And when I do that, it opens up this dialog box here, and I was already using it, so live preview was already checked. So if you don't see anything when this first opens up, double check that live preview is turned on, and then you have all of these different options over here. And so when it first opens up, I think it defaults to either brightness cutoff or edge detection, and when you click on these you can see that it's not very good. The clarity isn't very good. So you can play with each one of these, and this is essentially how I learned how to do logos and stuff was just playing with what it looked like, hitting OK and going through and stepping through. But now for almost everything I end up using the steps down here. So up here can create, you can still have the fuzzy lines, but it can create cleaner lines, and this is going to be a little bit hard to explain, but I might be able to explain it here once we get closer to the final projects. And then down here it rounds things out a little bit. So if I switch over to doing brightness steps or colors or grays, I can see my image changing over here, and it has difference to it. Since this is just a black and white image, I'm going to use grays, and actually sometimes when I'm doing colored images I also switch over to do grays, but sometimes I do colors. It's just depending on what I'm trying to pull out. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit OK, and it will do this little flash that you probably didn't even see, and then it stopped, became inactive, and now we can just go ahead and close out of this box. And if I drag my mouse over, there's two here. I'm going to delete all these ones here. So this is our original, and this is our new one. The original is still just a picture. If I use my node tool, I hover over it, it doesn't do anything. But if I come over here, there's my design. It highlights all of the different lines that it thinks it's going to do. But I don't want to, we're not quite done yet. So here's my design. I'm going to ungroup it because it's multiple layers stacked on top of each other. And then click outside of it, and then if I click back in, I can start dragging away the layers that are there. And these ones clearly are not very good. So I'm just going to have to delete them and just hit the delete key. And I'm just going to keep dragging some choices. And there's always this back box here, so make sure that you hit that nice and clear back box. So here are some choices. And when I said sometimes when you use the grayscale one that I was just using, it's a little more rounded. If you look at the picture here, you can see that this is very angular and thin, clean, but over here it's a little chunkier, fuzzier. Fuzzier is not the right word. It's just thicker. Same with the trees. So the trees have some good points to them, but the trees over here are a little bit more like blobs. And so then you decide which one of these you like best and into how you're going to keep it. So this one over here, I still have a lot of the freckling in the original design, which is really cool. It makes it, the original design makes it looks like it's just a stamp that was put on, but we want a cut file. So this one isn't actually going to work very well because the laser is going to read all of these different spots and then try to cut those out from our design. So we don't want that one. Same thing with this one, we don't want it, and this one. So now we're down to these two, and then you just kind of go through. So I actually will now take this and make my image, I'll just turn it black. Here you just click on it and turn it black so I can see it better to compare to my original image, or I don't even worry about my original image because you're just trying to make a large sign that is a resemblance, and we want as good of a cut file as we can. So between these two, I would go with the one on the left just simply because of the trees. But on this one over here, the lines, here let's zoom in and actually switch over to outline mode. So you can see how clean it is now. So these are all of the paths that will be cut by the laser. So the inside pieces of your letters are not as small as over here, so that's another good reason. to go with this one, but this line here is still kind of wavy, but that's something that can get fixed. And then you've got these little points here, which with your cut file, you're not going to want this one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this one on the left for my actual design. And so now it's all one piece, and you have to break it out into your cut pieces. I'm assuming you, because right now if you just cut this, you're going to have the snow pieces right here all cut out, and you certainly could do it. So it just kind of depends on what you want it to look like and how many layers and stuff you want. Let's see, I want to flip back to display mode normal. So here's your design again. This little dot down here, we don't need that anymore. I'm just gonna grab all the nodes and I'm just gonna delete it because it's just really not needed. This line right here, I'm gonna zoom in, control and mouse wheel, and I can fix these by just deleting maybe a couple of these nodes here, and it will even itself out. So I can delete these, I click on the line between these two nodes, and then I come up here and I choose make it a line, a straight line. So I can do that for both of these, and I just cleaned up my line. So you can go around and do that to any of the lines that you feel like you need to, for where they're being too bumpy or something for you. So now you can cut all of this and then just stick it, like paint it all black or whatever, and stick it on top of a rounder or what have you, and voila, you're done. Or you can go through and try to create some kind of layering to it where the mountains are on top of the lines and the trees are then on top of the snow caps, and the snow caps are on top of the mountains, and all of this stuff. So it just kind of depends on what you want to do with it from there. To start breaking it apart, to split it into pieces though, you can go path and then break apart, and now it looks very all confusing because you just broke it into its respective pieces. So before I do that, I go Control D, I make a duplicate so I can have it next to each other so I can still see what it looks like, and then I'll go back and I'll do break apart. So now I have all of these different pieces, and I can grab my Arctic design here, shift and hold down, and I'm just going to go back through and grab all of these. And then I'm going to combine them all back together. So that's my outside piece. I'm going to change it blue. And then I can move that off if I want to. And then we have all of our inside pieces here. So if I switch over to display mode and go to outline, I can see each one of these pieces as to what it's going to do or where it is. So I can say, well, I want this ring of this tree file here to be a different color. So like if you're editing for somebody. I have people coming up the stairs. Alright. Hi, I'm recording right now. Say hi. Hi. Now he's gonna run away. So at this point my brain is pretty much fried, and I think this is where we needed to get to so that the person that I'm helping has an actual cut file with what she needs to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this for now and take this one. And it's locked. We're gonna blow it up super big. So this frame right here is my Glowforge bed. And then I can make it as big as I need to. But that one step here where we broke it apart, this one, it's actually pretty helpful. So now if I go and do this and grab the rest of it and I go path, combine, I stuck it all back together. And so now I will in just a minute. Yep, okay. I'm recording right now. You can make your inside be much larger. Goodbye. Better way, I should have showed this. So path, combine, stick these two back together. And we're gonna go really big so that this circle fits in right here.
You can only do getting ready with Mom if she's ready to go right away.
And I am recording.
Oops, sorry.
It's okay. So I made this inner circle as big as the Glowforge bed. And then I have my outside circle here. And so I have all of these pieces. Oh, we don't need this one anymore. We can get rid of that. So you can fit these pieces to, we're going to go back to this. We're going to go path, break apart. And if I combine, actually, I think if I ungroup it, no. Alright, so then you have to go through and you combine each one of these letters and make them back into being their own pieces. So just so you have those ready, and then don't forget your company down here. So now you have all your letters that you can also put on your bed to cut out at the same time, but they're still keeping with the size. Oh, I'm going to turn off snapping because we don't need that right now, and I'm not worrying about like maximizing space just yet because we've got plenty of space. So you can just kind of keep playing with this. So all of these can get put in here and be cut out with their own, on their own. Ta-da! So that's kind of the sloppy file. And then we'll save it. So, thanks for watching. Ciao.